Welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm David Pavey. In his book entitled, "Since Nobody is Perfect, How Good is Good Enough?" pastor and author Andy Stanley tells a wonderful story. When his children were very young, he bought a used Nissan Infiniti, the best car he had ever owned. It was in mint condition, and he intended to keep it that way. One Saturday morning, as he was taking out the trash, he noticed something on the hood of the car. Walking over and taking a closer look, he discovered to his utter dismay that someone had scratched the letter A into the paint, and beside the A were attempts at several other letters. Andy was furious. Within seconds, his two boys were standing beside him as he demanded to know who had scratched the car. For a moment there was silence. Then Garrett, who was 5 at the time, piped up, "Allie did it." Allie, who was Andy's youngest child and only daughter, was a whopping 3.5 years old. Andy called her out of the garage, pointed to the hood, and said, "Allie, did you do that?" Allie looked up sheepishly at her father, and being from the South said, "Yes, sir, Daddy." "What was I going to do?" asked Andy. There was no way in the world for me to explain to Allie the significance of what she had done, or what it was going to cost in dollars, time, and hassle to get it repaired. There was no point in telling her that now I was going to have to take the car to the body shop, rent a car for a few days, and pay for the rental car as well as the repairs. She had no context whatsoever for understanding any of that. It would have been equally absurd to demand that Allie pay for the damage. Fair, maybe, but unrealistic. What does $200 or $300 mean to a 3-year-old? The number wouldn't even register, and where would she get the money to pay me back? So what do you do when that kind of situation occurs? I did the only thing I could do for someone I loved so much. I knelt down and said, "Allie, please don't do that anymore." Allie responded, "Yes, sir, Daddy." And then she hugged her father and went back into the house. Now there's a lesson here. We like to think of ourselves as good people, generally speaking, though we'd be quick to admit we're not morally perfect. Still, however good we may be, we're not good enough to merit heaven. Nobody is. And God sees our sin as a debt that we cannot pay. There would be no point in God asking us to pay our own debt anyway. To think that somehow being good would make us square with God would be like Allie promising to clean up her room after being confronted with the damage she'd done to the car. I mean, cleaning the room wouldn't pay her daddy back. It would be a helpful gesture, but it wouldn't repair the car. Now the Bible teaches that however good we may think we are, we have all carved a few letters into the hood of the car, if you like, and we can't pay for the damage. None of us can pay God back. Fortunately, God has opted for grace and mercy rather than justice. The Bible informs us that God demonstrates His love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. People don't go to heaven because they're good. They only go because they recognize that they are not good, but are forgiven. And forgiveness is available to everyone who believes that Jesus is who He claimed to be, and that His death accomplished what He claimed it accomplished. Let's thank God for offering us the gift of grace and mercy rather than calling for justice. The gift is ours for the taking. Why not say thank you and receive God's gift of eternal life today? And thank you for tuning in once again to Village Church Connections.